here, but yeah, if you're going to join in on live, welcome. If you're doing on the replay, welcome again. We got me, John Powell, and we got Colin Porter over here. And today we're going to be discussing, oh God, what are we discussing? Content creation and the importance of self-promotion.
Yes. We are indeed, because there's some connection there between the content creation and self-promotion. Self-promotion is going to involve content creation, isn't it? You're going to need to know who you are, what you're doing, where you're going, why you're doing it. Yeah.
And so why we all care, right?
Yeah. Yes. Let's just regroup our last broadcast. And somebody mentioned about value being more important than content. And I've been giving this thought for a couple of days. And at the end of the day, there's going to be somebody out there that resonates with you and what it is that you're trying to do. So don't spend too much time seeing what's trending and what's going on in the world. Do what you do best. Do what you enjoy. Do what you're good at.
Right.
And you will find that audience. You will find that niche. You will find that slot in society. That's my perspective.
Yeah. So kind of one of the topics that I wanted to bring to the table today, because, I mean, let's be fair. We don't have – this is kind of an impromptu broadcast. This isn't something that Colin and I sat down for the last week and a half and worked the kinks out. I think we put, 3 points on a piece of paper to talk about?
Yeah. And I lost a piece of paper. That's even better. You're getting it live and in full effect tonight, guys.
That's right. Live and Technicolor Dreamcoat, buddy. One of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to introduce a Facebook group that I put together years and years ago that was for entrepreneurial-minded people. If you are an entrepreneurial-minded person, if you, I don't know, got a podcast, if you sell stamps to put on envelopes, I don't care what it is, right? If you have the ambition and the drive to do your own thing, put yourself out there, maybe be an author, a publicist, a clothing designer, whatever. If you want to go get bottles and sell them to companies, I don't care what it is, right? Self-promotion is always going to be key. And so I put together a Facebook group many moons ago that was designed exclusively for entrepreneurial-minded people. I'll put the link in chat. If you are entrepreneurial-minded, you are welcome to join, and you are welcome to self-promote and get the practice of promoting yourself in your business, your idea, whatever, to help promote that concept and build up an audience. Because it's an important thing for content creators to promote yourself, what you offer. So, yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, because a lot of stuff, to be honest, I mean, it's been said countless times over years and years and years. People will always want to work with, they'll want to buy stuff from, they want to enjoy the products of somebody that they know, like, and trust. And the only way somebody's going to know, like, and trust you is for you to be out there, for you to be seen, for you to be transparent.
That's right.
Well, not necessarily transparent. That's always been a strange word. If you were transparent, they wouldn't bloody see you, would they? You'd be like a sheet of glass. They seek him here, they seek him there. Where is he? Oh, well, he's out
Everyone,
there.
I'd like to introduce you to the first dad joke of the broadcast.
Go on, I'm waiting for it. Go on.
No, you just said it.
Oh no, you can't deliberate after the fact. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can't say, well, something I did yesterday. Let's analyze that. But
no,
still, here we are.
You were going to bring it in there. Did I know that? No.
No, not at all. But as you can see, this is live.
That's right.
Unplugged, no structure at all. Sometimes that's the best way. Sometimes the best ideas flow when you're not working to some constraints, to the confines that a lot of people will hold themselves to. And we've got 4 people watching. One of them is going to be a moderator, I would assume, John. Possibly. Well, it says 4.
Maybe. Possibly. We'll see how the dice roll out. If anybody wants to speak up in the chat, I mean, you're 100% welcome to come up and join us. 100%. I mean, it's kind of the name of the game.
Expert community public group Facebook. Yes, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So this
Tell me
group
about.
I made a long, long time ago. Basically, the group is meant to be a network, if you will, for people who are entrepreneurs to self-promote, to learn from another person on how they are self-promoting, to kind of get that tip and that trick from that person. And then, because starting or running, or especially at the beginning of anything, really, but at the beginning of business, it's incredibly difficult to keep kind of the momentum going, and you're going to hit potholes and crevices and Grand Canyon cracks and speed bumps, and then a little bit of success here and there, and it's hard. It's a hard path. So I wanted to put together a group, like I said, years ago, that kind of gave an opportunity, if you will, for people who are going through these stages to, in a way, support each other, kind of be a support system for each other, because you're going through similar struggles. Maybe the details are different. Maybe your country or your city or your neighborhood, whatever, maybe that's different. Maybe your audience is different. Maybe you're in a different genre. The struggles of starting a business are often the same or similar. So this group really started out of that, a way to support one another, kind of lean on each other and be each other's support systems for these kinds of things. So that's what Experts Community is. Yeah, and if you are entrepreneurial minded, you are welcome to join at any time you want. I put the link in the comments there for you.
So the expert community, that lends itself to saying that it was going to be the people that really know their stuff that were going to be joining this group. Is that what we're right in saying?
Yes and no. It was kind of a place for people who maybe already knew what they were doing, and it was a place for people who didn't know what they were doing at all to learn from those that did know. Right? Like it was a place to become a support network for those that wanted to start a business, start their own podcast, start something, right?
Yeah.
It may not have been a business. Maybe you want to start a band. There's a lot of people in the group that are authors.
Okay.
During the time when they joined the group, they wrote and published their first book being in the group. There's people that started up life coaching businesses. There's people who started whole podcast shows, and I've been on a few of the shows as a guest on their shows. Yeah.
Did you find that there were many people starting to interact, starting to collaborate in that community group, John?
Yes.
Right.
Over the last couple of years, I think it's kind of taken a dip down, especially during this whole COVID thing. I think things have kind of taken a dip down. So it's a good time to kind of step into the community. The people are still there. The people are still active. Like, they'll still like and post and stuff like that. But I think kind of like it's time to turn on a new show. I think people are just seeing reruns at this point, and they want, new episodes. You know what I mean? Which comes when you invite new people and they bring in new ideas and new things that they're doing.
Yeah, because as we know, things only change when you get some new blood or some new concepts flowing. So I think that's a great idea. I mean, initially you started talking when you said it was for this and it was for that, but it is still a going concern. Yeah, people can still just jump in now, and if they wanted 100%. To go from here and
100%. The last time I looked at the analytics of the group, I want to say that there was 7 or 8 countries represented in the membership there. And it was mostly an even split. I want to say that there was, it might be about 65% male kind of thing. Like, I'm pretty sure like it's a pretty even divide. There might be a little bit more leaning towards podcasts and like coaches or like relationship coaching, things like that. There might be a little bit more of a leaning towards that with the people that are in the group. But that just means that there is plenty of opportunity. So
right. So were you finding then that the people that were joining the group were the people that would prefer to be, I mean, you mentioned podcasts, that prefer to be
Mhm.
heard rather than, like, in the public eye? Is that a normal thing? Is that what we're saying about self-promotion?
Well, I think self promotion is kind of a misnomer as far as the terminology goes. I think the promotion itself, or at least the essence of what it's supposed to mean, is something about promoting the the brand or the service or the product that you bring to the table. I don't think it's about promoting just you as a person, right? I think it was more about promoting what you brought and offered to someone else that they could purchase from you, and it become an exchange. You give them value, and then they give you an income, right? So, and
Yep,
hey,
yep.
dough, darling, vegan dough. Hey, welcome to the podcast or the procast. There we go, procast. I like it.
Broadcast, yes. The broad pod. No, the pod. No,
Yeah,
forget it. We'll
the bro pod, the two bros, the bro pod.
two bros, P and P, P and P against the world. No,
Yeah.
darling from Lincoln. Did you want to step in? Did you want to say hi? We're just talking about content creation and self-promotion, if that's all right with my buddy, because he is the main broadcaster. I'm
Right.
just jumped in from the cheap seats.
Yeah, you're just a moderator here too, so it's not like you can make that decision at all.
No, not at all. We'll throw it out there. We'll invite the user, but it's always useful to have somebody else to interaction. As we say, things pick up when you get a bit of new blood. Somebody comes in with a new perspective, just like Edward did the other night when we did that broadcast. I watched one of his broadcasts today, and he had Randy in there. He was doing a 5 mile walk. 5 mile walk. Now, if that isn't self-promotion, because self-promotion can come in many forms. You're promoting yourself, you're building yourself up when you get out there and you're doing that fitness things. There's so many ways that you can strip this self-promotion down. Putting yourself out there. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. And so I think that's why self-promotion and content creation is a great topic, because as you said, you've got people going into the expert community. I'm just quoting this expert community public group,
Right.
Trying to promote themselves. So content creation, is that about enhancing their brand, John? Is that what we're saying? Enhancing their brand so that people can.
I think that's a lot of people's motivation and goal for content creation.
Okay.
I think now, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm wrong often, and I'm okay with being wrong. But
wrong's good.
I believe that it kind of comes back to the whole value proposition. Like, value itself, to me, is more of the result of a really good like self promotion thing, or your promotion of your business. It's the result of effective positioning of a statement, of the right audience seeing it, so that the right person sees it and finds value in what you have said. And it comes at the right kind of time, the right cost, everything. So I think all of these things come together to kind of equate to that. I don't think that that's kind of like the first step. I don't think it's an actual step at all. I think it's just what results from the many other foundational steps that you put in place.
Right. So it's a little bit like Edward's saying, there's so many facets to self-promotion. There's putting the information out there, finding the right audience, which, from my own personal perspective, I think that people will actually gravitate to you once they hear what you're saying. If it tallies in with their mindset, with their personality, they're going to come towards you anyway. They're going to be drawn into that. But so you've got the person, you've got the personality, you've got your audience, and it's tying all those different things together. Because I know you're big on stripping down patterns and that. So were you bringing that to the table in this group? What were you bringing to the group?
When I did the group, I was starting and doing coaching at the time when I put the group together. Okay. I was just starting that out. That was my first thing, right?
Right.
Before then, I had done other small business things like basic IT repair. I did a little stint in construction for a time, and then I did like contract thing where I would go to local businesses and I would be the guy that would teach and train their sales staff to teach them tips and tricks on how to improve their sales method to increase sales and productivity. I still stand by. I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, so that would lend itself well to the group then. If that's the kind of thing that you're into at that point in time, you'd be able to help people to enhance their delivery, enhance their strategy for putting themselves out there. I think that's 100%. Awesome. I think it's an ideal title for the group, an expert community public group. So if anybody's on the side, any of these 29 listeners, if they want to click on that link, they can all join up.
100%. Go ahead and click the link. I am the only moderator currently for the group. So whatever you put into the message to kind of join the group, because there is a questionnaire. There's a thing that says, here's the group rules. Do you agree to that? Blah, blah. And then here's a short form little snippet box that you can put in. And the question there, I believe, if I remember right, says, are you an entrepreneur? Like, what about you as an entrepreneur? Like, what's your goal? What are you doing? Right? It gives you an opportunity to kind of just give a little blab, like 2 or 3 sentences. You don't have to you're not writing a 14-page essay, right? Just a little blab. That's it. And then I'll go in and I'll approve it manually. It's just me that does it. So there's no worries about things, getting leaked out. It's not confidential, blah, blah. If you're worried about that, it has nothing to do with it. It's only one person who sees it. So you're fine. Well, yeah.
So what are you wanting people to put in this box? I mean, Edward spoke yesterday. I think it was Edward. One of you, not yesterday, before. One of you guys spoke about the whole T-shirt and the resume thing, and the who was it, yourself or was it Edward that said? And they sent the resume in on a T-shirt.
Oh, that was somebody I knew.
Right. Yeah. So what are you looking for? Because obviously you're trying to keep the group, hold the group to a standard.
One question.
So if you have a group,
there's only one question, and I just pulled it up. So the question says exactly, this group is for entrepreneurs. If that describes you, please let us know about it here. And then it's just a short answer block that you can type whatever you want in. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think because my mind goes off on different tangents. So I could just join the group and just put in that box, I could just put, I'm an entrepreneur.
You could.
But that wouldn't really, this is what I'm saying. It's
I feel like I would appreciate a little bit more of an effort. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm trying to be, the devil's advocate here. Yeah. I'm trying to enable you to open this up a little bit more. So what kind of generalized things have you got without going into too much detail?
As far as what people have said in that little block?
Yeah, just on generalization rather than giving too much away.
It's honestly, like I said, most of the group is that is there already has really been mostly like consultants, coaches, and podcast people. There's a few people that do public speaking events, like motivational speakers, things like that. There's a few people in there. And to be honest, the question thing is fairly recent. So I think I've only had like 1 or 2 people go through it. And, they get on there like, hi, my name is blah, 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 which is really not super necessary because it says who your profile, like it does. You don't even have to really say your name.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. It's kind of like you shaking hands with somebody with a name tag and it says your whole name right here. And you say, hi, my name is
this is me. This is hello.
Right.
Read the card.
Hi, my name is name tag.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're on there.
See when that happens, I'll be
Normally, they're just a couple sentences. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm new to business. I've been doing this, blah, blah, blah. This is my business. Or someone will say, hey, I've been in business for 30 years doing this. This is my business, blah, blah, blah. Done. Like, it's just something that says, hey, I'm not just somebody saying I want to be an entrepreneur so I can get up there and advertise links that people are paying me to advertise. Because if that's the case, I'm going to kick it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I said a few minutes ago, you've got to sort of be holding the group to a certain standard. Otherwise, what would be the attraction of joining a group that doesn't, tick that box there?
Right.
Okie dokie.
The whole group, it's a small private group. It's not a public group. So it's the people that are in the group are supportive of each other. It's a positive group. It's like being here at HAPS. It's a positive group experience, and it's kept kind of exclusive and small like that for that reason. This way, we don't have a whole bunch of people just showing up and trash talking somebody because they didn't like the idea for their business. Well, then don't buy the business. Don't trash talk somebody for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you find that when you get... let's go with the podcasters. When you get a lot of podcasters joining something like an expert community group, do you find that they're all in competition with each other, trying to show that they're better than the next guy?
Not really. What I found in the group is that the podcasters would share links of each other's episodes, of course, and that was encouraged. Self-promotion. Put the link up for your show. Let people watch it. What had turned out to be beyond that was I would see people posting a question, say, hey, this part on my machine died and I don't know where to get it. Does anyone have any ideas where I can get this part? And another one would chime in, hey, I had that part break on me a while back ago. I got it from here. And then another person would say, hey, what do I do with this bandwidth? I don't know how to fix this. I'm still new. And another person would say, I figured that out. You do this.
Right. So it was a really helpful asset for people to be in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
And I saw people, as far as the coaching goes, and I didn't even think about this possibility, but what I started to see was you would see niche people, like you would have people that would do like marriage coaching or relationship coaching. And then you'd have somebody that would just be like a very isolated thing about business over here. And when the person with the business would be going through their coaching with someone, and then they would find pain points and trigger points with that client that had something to do with about their relationship or their marriage that was affecting their business, they would make that open referral to a person within the group that specialized in that. And then that other person would pick up the client and then work with them in that kind of aspect. And it become like a double header to help people out.
Right. Yes, I like that. So if anybody on the side, any of these 40 people that are viewing or have viewed, if you're in there and you feel like it might be something that's going to benefit yourself, which I think this can benefit anybody in business, feel free to click on the tab on the link there that John's kindly posted. Expert Community Public Group, Facebook.
I'm going to go take a look.
It says that there's 398 members.
Yeah.
Say again, John.
I'm going to go take a look right now and see if I've got any. That's not it. Okay, so that just started autoplay. Okay. So, yeah, I don't see anybody coming in quite yet. Why are you doing this? Stop it. There we go. How about I just close it for now? I'll look after the broadcast.
Sounds interesting. It's like a goat being strangled.
Oh, no, don't start about the goats again, Colin.
Yeah, but you've got to be kind to goats. It's just one of those things. Goats are really loyal, caring animals.
They're
trying to inject a little bit of it in there. Content creation and self-promotion.
Right.
Content creation and self-promotion. Right.
Here, you know what?
So what
content creation and self-promotion?
Yes.
how about I do a little bit of self-promotion myself and kind of just open that up? How about that? During the time when I was in this experts community group and I had this really awesome kick-ass community of people coming together to support each other, I wrote and published a book.
Yep.
And there it is.
There you go. There you go. So that all came about because of this, or this was just during that period of time?
It was during that period of time, but I want to say one kind of lended itself to the other. I had for a long time always wanted to write a book and never jumped into it because, a myriad of reasons why a person doesn't jump into something they always wanted. That they're afraid to fail. They're afraid to succeed. They're afraid of people's judgments. They're, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
sometimes they're just afraid to go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that like what this group did for me specifically was it kind of lended me a backbone enough to just go ahead and put my own personal story of pain and suffering and triumph into a book and publish it. Yeah. That's how the group helped me.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you talk about backbone, first thing that pops into my mind is the analogy that the backbone is going to be your content. It's going to be your personality. And then you've got the arms and the legs, you've got the marketing, you've got delivering that kind of information. It's finding the right people to work with. So, yeah, I mean, I get that 100%. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that anybody on the side there, they are really going to find this beneficial because it is an expert community public group. We found on Facebook. So all you got to do is click on that link, sign up, and you will gain something from it, even if it's just being part of a group that is struggling with similar issues. I think that's a great idea. I really do.
Yeah, it's just a community. It's a support group. I mean, who alive or dead has at some point in time in their ambition to achieve more, who hasn't needed a little bit of support from someone else?
Oh, 100%. I mean, what is it to say the age-old phrase, man is not an island. We cannot do things by ourselves.
Right.
I mean, life is an interaction, isn't it? I mean, you could be you could make some great cakes. You could be a great baker. But if you've got no customers there, you're just going to have an influx of baking. I mean, where are you going to get your ingredients from if somebody else isn't making the ingredients, if somebody else isn't delivering those ingredients, if somebody isn't marketing those ingredients? Life is 100% an interaction.
Yep, 100%.
Right. Content creation, self-promotion.
Yeah.
Content creation, self-promotion. I'm looking for some words of wisdom, some inspiration here.
I'm just
saying we've got no structure to this. Yeah, please do. Please do. Grab the links. Fire them in there. Well, at the end of the day, I mean, I've never been ashamed to say that your book obviously helped me a lot. And I think a lot of people gain from that. So a little bit of shameless, can't even speak. That's because I've got no tea left in my cup, John. What's going on there?
That's what it is.
Bit of shameless
British man without tea.
That's what I need.
Oh.
British man without tea, right. While you find that link and just talk to our audience, I'm going to just grab a glass of water because my mouth and my throat is really dry. So if you just spout something, just tell them something, tell them anything. I shall return 10 seconds, anything. If not soon. Sooner.
So yeah.
Oh, that's the microphone on.
No. Oh, that's okay. So yeah, I just went ahead and muted Colin. That way we don't hear a whole bunch of his banging around in his kitchen. So I guess the point of this whole broadcast was to talk about creating content to make a broadcast. I mean, I'm sure we all know someone that knows really cool stuff that, they should be doing something like this and maybe making a little post on Facebook or making pictures or write a little article or something, or I don't know, something but they don't do it, right? Maybe they tell themselves, "I don't know what to write. I don't know. I don't know what people like, what they don't like. I don't know. I don't know." I think a lot of this is just don't make it complicated. Just kind of relax, let it be organic, and just talk about whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Even if you feel like you're bad at it, it's okay. If you show that you're not the best at something, you give someone else permission to also not be the best at it and to go ahead and do it. Right? That's kind of the point of showing it to not be perfect. It'll never be perfect. Perfect is a myth. It only exists in the dictionary. So don't worry about perfect. Worry about being okay. Like, are you okay with it? It may not be done, but are you okay with it? Just get on here and talk about it. You know, I mean, I think if I went and I offered like coaching services after, I don't know, so many videos of so many things that I put on here, all my weekly videos that I've been putting on, if I went and offered coaching services at like a nominal fee, I'm pretty sure I might pick up a client or two here and there. I mean, that's the point of self-promotion. Maybe you don't pick up somebody today. Maybe you're sowing that seed and you just keep self-promoting, and eventually you start picking up people because they start seeing that you really know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. It hinges back to something I was listening today. Because I always try to bombard my mind with like self-development stuff, because the people that have been doing it for so long, they've mastered it. And I think they call it standing on the shoulders of giants. And something that occurred to me as I was listening to Mr. Jim Rohn today, he talks about why, and the why has got to be that big that it's going to drive you to do what it is that you're doing. And why that came to mind as I shamelessly made a cup of tea, even though I said I was going to get a drink of water. The guy's got to have his tea. So the why is going to be the thing that drives you if you're not doing the self-promotion, because that's right. What I was going to approach it from. There's going to be a lot of people out there that have got some hidden talents or something that they're really good at. But even though they enjoy it, they're going to say, well, I'm not good enough to be out there. There's going to be a lot of people out there worse off than you or of a lower quality doing this.
And they need you.
And they're promoting it. They're promoting it. I mean, today I bounced around a little bit when I first woke up, and there's a lot of people asking, that's where we're going. A lot of people asking, give me the coins. Don't be shy. Sponsor me. That's what the button's there for. Click that button. It's amazing what you will get if you ask. If you're willing to ask, say, ask and it is given, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be opened unto you. But if you don't ask, it's never going to happen. I think Edward mentioned this. People aren't asking. Knock and the door will be answered, but you've got to knock. Seek and you shall find. But are you looking? Really? Are you looking? If you want to be out there, life is very short. Life is very short. And if you don't start just putting one step in front of the other, you might regret it till the end of your days. I think somebody said the saddest thing, I think it was a vicar who was presiding over a funeral once, and he said that the saddest thing is not the death of the person, but the death of the dreams, the ideas, the music that was left never written. And it really is. I mean, if that's going to trigger anybody on the side to start thinking, not necessarily getting out there and saying, right, I'm going to do that first broadcast, but think about it. Say, what if I am good enough? What if people are going to accept me? What if people are going to like what it is that I do? There was a broadcast I caught the back end of a guy, an artist. I think it was on Ook Berry's broadcast. There's other people out there, artists that are doing phenomenal stuff. You look at it and it looks like a photo. And then you've got the people out there. Who's the guy that did the crazy drawings, John, the artist that didn't even look like a face? Was it Van Gogh? Who was it? I'm not clued up on art.
Van Gogh, his stuff, I don't know, he didn't do lifelike paintings. His painting, like Starry Night, Yeah, it wasn't like a photo. It was like a swirl of oils and stuff. It wasn't.
There you go. And
Yeah.
this is the point I'm trying to raise. Your swirl of oil, people might be able to resonate that better than an image that looks like a photo's been taken.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I
So
know I
this,
resonate with his art more than anybody else's at any point. Like, I don't know. People.
he didn't. Yeah. Go ahead.
He took the pain of his existential life, and then he turned it into ecstatic art and beauty. Like, nobody else had ever done what Vincent van Gogh had done before him. And in my honest opinion, no one really has ever done it since to quite what he's done.
No, he didn't tie himself to constraints.
Right.
He didn't tie himself to the constraints of the normal train of thought. This is what I'm saying. Good evening, Ari. So
there.
Van Gogh is a
Ari.
great example
Welcome,
that I want
buddy.
to bring to the table. And I just want to say that, Van Gogh, the reason we mentioned him with the swirly oil paints, maybe your swirly oil paint or the equivalent of that is going to be something that people can resonate with. So don't hold yourself back and say, well, I'm not good enough. People will enjoy it. Ari, welcome. How's it going? It's been a long time.
It's been a while. How are you folks doing?
Good.
Excellent. I'm doing okay.
I've got a
Can't
couple of
complain.
teas.
Well, even if we did complain,
Excellent.
who'd listen?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's like, whatever, guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What are you drink? What are you
Let's
drinking
move
there?
on.
What are you drinking there, Colin?
Surprise, surprise.
What am I drinking? I'm drinking typical breakfast tea, PG tips with a dash of milk and a couple of sugars in there. So everything's well with the world. I said to John, just hold the fort while I get a glass of water. I lied. I knew I was going to get a cup.
Hey, there's water in that cup.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. So there's a friend at work, a British friend at work, and I always razz him pretty good. I mean, like all Brits, very very religious about his tea, and really important thing. So I always just call it wannabe coffee, and which gets him really angry.
Oh,
He's like, how dare you, sir?
where's that mute button for Ari's mic?
Oh,
How
man.
dare
Here
you
we
come
go.
here and chastise
Here
him?
we go.
There we go.
It's like I was weaned on tea. I was weaned on this stuff. Let me tell you, I had a bottle with a teat on it, and then as I developed into later life, I managed to find myself this little store online that provided people with intravenous tea urns, so you could just stick it into a vein as you sleep at night, and it just keeps feeding.
And
You
who
wake
are
up
you
in the top of
kidding?
the world.
Colin's British. He breastfed on tea.
Yeah, we're not.
I did.
Yeah, we're not generalizing here or anything like that, right?
No,
That's
not
going
at
on here.
Not at all. I mean, it wasn't a breast; it was actually a teapot that I was like chomping on. It worked. It did the job. A guy's gonna have his tea. So, what's your tea? What's your drink? Your beverage choice? What's your
I'm a
train
big coffee
tea
guy.
that you drink?
Coffee. Just coffee.
Oh, a potential tea. A wannabe tea. Yeah.
Yeah. what tea wishes it was. What tea wishes
That's
it
right.
was. So
That's right.
no,
no.
I know.
Oh,
No, I'm a big coffee guy. I really like
Bless you.
coffee of all kinds.
Yeah. fair play. So, is that cappuccino or is it like the mocha or whatever it is? There's so many different versions, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, like, I have to be in the mood for the fancier ones, but I mean, I don't mind like a cappuccino from like Starbucks or whatever. I mean, I used to be really elite about my coffee. It needs to be this way. I mean, past few years, I'm like, like whatever. Like I've become a lot less picky with my coffee, and I just like the ceremony of drinking coffee. So, I mean, really, there's very little coffee I don't like.
Which,
Okay.
by the way, tying
My
this
children
discussion
are
back, this is content creation, folks. We're talking
Oh,
about tea and coffee. Like this is actual content that we are creating on the fly with no prep at all. You know how
Fair
Colin
enough.
makes
Prep,
his
yes.
tea. No
Sure.
prep at
I
all.
mean, yeah,
Fair
not
enough.
to be pedantic when it comes to semantics, but the stuff that I've put in my cup is the contents of it. So I have created content for my cup.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Content creation. It's content creation. There
That's
we
what
go.
this is. I mean, it's a conversation. It's fun. There's some levity to it, and it's still content for this little broadcast thing. So it counts.
I admit I was excited to see the topic, John. Around self promotion. Oh,
Dimity.
yeah. Hey there. Hey, Dimity. What's really great. It's a hard topic. I mean, sort of I would say in certain communities, and I'd say, they're I'll say Canadians and Brits are alike in this way, where you don't talk yourself up, right? You don't just go and broadcast yourself all over the place. You know what I mean? You kind of do your
Right.
thing, and that's it here. And the concept of self promotion, I mean, is really hard for some people. And I would say that myself
sure.
included. It took me a long time to figure out how to promote myself and not make it seem like, in my professional life, and not make it seem like I was showing off or bragging or saying
Or
that I was
disingenuous.
or disingenuous or saying I'm better than someone else. And because you don't,
Right.
That's just not me. And so, I mean, I admit that was a very hard lesson for me to learn in my professional life. And I would say even in my private life and, like hobbies like this and things of that sort, like self-promotion is really difficult. I can imagine why it is for so many people.
I have a question for Ari.
Go for it.
How is the chair?
There
There it is.
it is.
I am gushing over the chair. It was like 600 Canadian moose dollars, and it was, after taxes and shipping, like even more than that actually. And you know what? Worth every penny. I can't believe how comfortable it is. It's a really great chair.
For those that are unaware, Ari invested. He didn't purchase. He invested in his own seating health in a brand called Secret Lab. Ari, if you want, buddy, we're talking about promotion. Let's go ahead and shamelessly post a link to the chair.
I'm actually bringing it up right now. That's exactly
Good
what
man.
I'm doing.
Good man.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Love it,
Right.
because it is content creation. That's the beauty of this topic title: content creation - self promotion. So we can latch onto any one of those aspects.
100%. And anybody in the comments, anybody that's watching, feel welcome to come join us up. How many can we have in here? What, 6 people at once?
I believe so. 8.
Yeah.
I think.
Up to 8. Well, bring it. Let's fill up the spots. Come on, folks.
Be a good
Don't
test.
be shy. Let's go.
I find after about 5 or 6 people, like the audio quality really starts taking a tank.
Right.
Really, but we can run that experiment. Hey, bring everyone in and let's see when the audio starts stinking.
Yeah, and then we could just mute Colin.
Like I say, I'll try anything once and twice if I like it. And bear in mind that I'm also I've got control of the studio as well, so I could just kick your ass out of it, John.
Well, yeah. And actually, you know what? Colin, you're very good at that. Kicking people out after inviting them in. So that's.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
There it is.
I need to look at my watch. It's been about 10 minutes, I think, or 8 minutes since I've joined. So not bad.
Yeah,
but remember the other day you couldn't even make it a 16th of a second.
I know.
Bring it on. I've got a cup of tea. Bring it on, Ari. I've got a cup of tea. You can't.
Yeah, I know.
Tea is like a wing of steel.
Yes. Well,
Did you ever watch Batfink, John? Did you ever watch Batfink as a kid?
No. I think I've
it's
even
funny.
heard of it.
Ari, yes.
What is it?
Did you watch Batfink?
What show was that?
Batfink. Batfink.
Batfink.
He used to stand
I've
there
never
and say,
even heard of it.
he used to say his
I'm Googling
catchphrase
it right now.
His catchphrase was, "Your bullets cannot harm me. My wings are like a shield of steel." And I think it's a great thing in self-development as a metaphor, an analogy, because if you've got something fixed in your mind as you imagine people's abuse or negative comments bouncing off you, I think that's a great. It's a great metaphor.
I have never seen this show, and I, as a kid, watched all kinds of cartoons, and I have never heard of the show.
You should look it up. Hours of fun.
Especially it kind of reminds me of a really awesome scene, and it stuck with me forever. I think it was Superman Returns.
Okay.
There was a scene where Superman comes back. There's a guy. I think he was robbing somebody, and Superman just crashes down right beside him. He's looking him in the eye, The guy pulls a gun and pops around off as Superman. And the special effects, I was just stunned about this. The slow motion of the bullet coming up right into his eyeball, and it just crumpled at his eye and fell.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, that like you say the whole I'm bulletproof, it bounces off of me, and like that imagery comes back to my head. That it just comes up, one of the softest points on your whole body, and this thing just crumpled on it and dropped. I'm like, oh man,
that's a great scene. That's a great scene.
So that's the way to be bulletproof, in the softest place you got, and you still aren't taking it. Come on, that's bulletproof right there, buddy.
Amen.
It is. It is. If we're going literal, yes, I'll give you that one. And I'm a great. I enjoy anything in that ilk. You know, Marvel, DC Comics, Superman, the whole thing. I mean, I was weaned on that. So I mean, it's very tough. And again, it's content. I mean, they knew what they were doing. People like Marvel and DC. Yeah, they found their niche, and
they found their audience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and okay, so part of marketing, and this is kind of one of those things that you have to like kind of learn about from either working in a business or taking like classes in marketing, things like that. One of the more basic foundations that you learn about is you identify stages of your customers, right? So you start with like your all-star customer, and you identify that person, not a theory. So you give your all-star person a name. You say, okay, Sally. Sally is going to be my all-star customer. Sally really likes cups of tea. Sally doesn't know how to work haps. So when Sally invites her friends, she uninvites them right away. Sally is
Where's
Sally.
That button?
Sally works her job. Colin.
Where's that button? Harry, tell me where the button is. Let's get this.
You know, you get very specific as to who Sally is as a person, right? What are her interests? What does she do for a living? Does Sally have kids? Is she shopping for her kids all the time? Does she have a boy and a girl? Is it just a boy? Like, what's going on in Sally's life? Is Sally in a new relationship? You know,
who's your ideal customer, so you can tailor what you're doing and pitch it at that.
Exactly. You chunk it down. Okay, here's your all-star. Here's your kind of in the middle of the road, like somebody who'll probably take it and somebody who probably won't. And then you identify the person who absolutely will not take your service. No matter how much you promote, beg, pay, whatever, bribe, steal, cheat, they are not interested in what you have to offer. Okay? You identify these tiers of people. You give them actual names.
So for the audience, John, I've put the terminal, you know, what you're talking about is personas. And so I've put that into the a link to that in the chat for people to follow along with.
Awesome. So I appreciate you, man.
That's a common thing in what you're talking about and in developing user interfaces and developing software products. It's very much to give people view names and personalities so that you can better relate to them, put yourself in their shoes. I'll let you continue.
Yes.
I apologize.
Right. So
no, don't apologize. I think that's a great idea. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there. I just wanted to tie that in there if people want to click on Ari's link. But when people are setting goals, when people are trying to make improvements in their life, if we haven't got something specific that we're pitching at, we're highly unlikely to achieve that. Whereas, to tie this back into what John was saying, if you've got a kind of visual representation of your ideal customer, at least you can enhance your pitch, you can enhance your skills, the quality of the stuff that you're putting out there in relation to that. And in effect, what's happening there is you're actually finding your niche without even realizing it.
Exactly. And so there is a difference here. There's a core difference that's very important to distinguish. You could try, and I don't advise this, but you could try to cut corners and use like an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, you know, somebody you already know, and try to describe that person as like your ideal customer, blah, 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 blah. I don't recommend that. Just don't do that. The reason for that is these people who know you, you're going to be tempted to actually show it to them to test and go, okay, well, I've built this up. I'm going to go test it and throw it to them and see what they think. And these people also have known you at your worst as well as what you hope is your best.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
we're
So
back
they
to that.
see a spectrum of you, and the value proposition that you're now trying to show may conflict with that, with how they've already known you. So the goal here is for you to build a representation, a very detailed representation of someone who is a stranger to you, that you do not know and does not know you. So they have no biases, no personal preferences about you as a person.
Yeah, no preconceptions.
Right.
It makes a lot of
That's
sense.
an important, vital thing. Who you're pitching to and building this for is someone you don't know, someone who doesn't know you. This way,
go on.
Well, this way the judgment is on your service and not on you.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think it was Tony Robbins, and I quote it time and time again. You cannot be a prophet in your own land.
That's right.
Prophet, a speaker, somebody that's recognized for their ability, because your family, your friends, the people that you've grown up with, the people that you spend the most time with, they're going to see you as John. They're going to see you as Ari rather than Ari the professional or John the professional.
Right. This is why, and again, it gets overused a little bit. This is why you see, when people talk about their success stories, a lot of times they'll say, well, my family didn't think I could do it. And it's not quite true. They kind of know you and like, all your dirty laundry, sort of like, okay, look, you're going to run into the following 7 problems, given how well I know you. You just need to be prepared for it. And that's interpreted as lack of support. So for that person to really strike it, they need to go again. I like the term that you used from Tony Robbins, outside of your area or whatever the term you used. I thought it was a great term.
You profit in your own land.
Profit in your own land. I thought it was a great term. That why you need to go outside.
That's right. Yeah. There's value in that.
I think I'll go one step further and say not only with your family and friends, not necessarily not encourage you. I think because they care about you and they won't see the goal, the potential that you've seen, the time that you've put into it, they won't see that. So they will try and protect you and say, well, maybe the time is not right, or maybe you should just pull back a little bit and wait a little bit longer. Right. Well, I'm here to see the people on the side, the people that there's 50 viewers now, whatever. I'm saying don't listen to that.
No, you've
got something, a passion that you've been working on that you want to keep promoting and putting out there, go for it, because the time is right.
That's right. That's right. And if I can add to that thought for you, Colin, oftentimes, and I found this even to be true in my own family, when I was trying to do things, it was... I don't genuinely believe that a lot of times it was out of malicious, like a malicious intent. I think a lot of times when people were suggestive, maybe they didn't even outright say it, they were suggesting that I couldn't do this thing because of whatever, right? Doesn't matter, right?
Yep. Yeah.
They were never, at no point, they were never saying that I couldn't do it. What they were actually telling me was that they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That they didn't believe that they could do it. And then that transplanted, it was like a projection onto me. That was like them projecting that without them admitting fault. They're just projecting that on someone else. And I'm not saying it's malicious. We all do it subconsciously, right? I'm not saying, I'm not blaming anybody.
No, they're absolutely right, because people are absolutely right from their perspective. They know what they're talking about in their own mind. They're absolutely right. 100%. I need to try to stop this person from making a fool of themselves. I need to stop this person from overreaching, overstretching, putting something out there that they're not able to bring to the table, not able to fulfill. And they're absolutely right.
That's right.
Because that is their perspective. But for the people on the side, you also are absolutely right. You know what you're good at. You know that this is possible. You know that you just need the right encouragement, somebody to say, okay, now is the time. And I'm here to say, now is the time.
That's right. Exactly. I mean, when is it going to be the right time? Like I stopped myself for years saying, "Oh, I'm going to wait until I've got the right job with the right income, so I'm not worried about my bills. I can not stress about the bills. I can worry more about this. I blah blah blah." I told myself all these kind of excuses all the time. My question is, when is the right time? Right? When will it be right? If not now, when? Because I mean, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. I know it's cliche, but it's absolutely true. And I'm going to tell you this, like this is a little bit real moment. If you've never held your friend and watched him die, thinking, and he thought yesterday everything was fine, right? I have. So I'm telling you, it is not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed the next day, nothing. It's not guaranteed next week. If you've got an ambition, just do it wrong if you have to. Do it rough. Bang your head against the wall and let other people who are supportive, like people here on HAPS, people in the experts community group that you are openly invited to. I'm inviting you. Okay? Find networks where people are supportive and go do it wrong. Find a support network that will pick you back up every time you do it wrong and help you show you how to do it better.
Because at the end of the day, if you don't do it wrong, if you don't get out there, shake yourself up, you're not going to see what's going to fall out and what needs altering, what needs fine tuning, what needs fixing. I mean, I like to use the example. You've seen this countless times, John, countless times. The sand timer, and people are looking.
I'll have to get you a new one.
Let me just kick him out. Let me just kick that man straight out of this room because he's taken away something that's going to be of use to the people on the side. I'll do something. I'll stand up for what I've stood for.
Love you too, Colin.
The sand time is great because I know, mate. I know. I'm only joshing with you. You see, the thing is, with a sand timer, you've got that sand in the top and it's slowly dripping away into the bottom. People are spending too much time looking at the bottom and saying, "This is how it is.
Yep.
Why is this like this? Why is that like that? Why does this always happen?" And all the while they're focusing on that bottom, that sand in the bottom there. The sand in the top is slowly but surely slipping away. So ignore what's in the bottom. Start using what's left in the top, because as John just rightly said, there's no guarantees. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Tomorrow might never come. And you don't want to be taking the idea to the grave with you. John's holding you at the same time.
You never know when a cat's going to come up and just bat that little hourglass off the table and break it, and it's all over.
You're right. That's a good way to put it.
You never know.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Or the goat. Or my goat. That's why I've got him tied up to the fridge, John. He cannot get away from that fridge, man.
But I mean, it's a really good analogy in that a lot of people, like the sand starts going, and then, a cat, whatever, knocks the hourglass off the table, it shatters all over the floor, and then all we can think of, well, that didn't get a fair shake. Like it wasn't fair. You couldn't let all the sand run through once. Like that wasn't fair. Like it fell off. It was extenuating circumstances. It shouldn't count. Right. It happens all the time. I watched a guy. I didn't know the guy. I didn't know anything. I watched a guy at a homeless shelter, I don't know, a decade or two ago, that they were doing some religious thing. I don't know what it was in the building. The guy got upset. He says, "I don't need any part of that. I know I'm good. I'm blah, 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 blah," and got mad and stormed out the building, stepped off the curb, and a bus killed him instantly right there.
Yeah.
It's like 4 feet from the door. Like, I mean, accidents happen. Take advantage of the time that you have when you have it and never be satisfied.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because, as John said, you never know how much is left. You never know how much you got left.
So for Colin, that means drink as many cups of tea, as your kidneys can process in a day.
For sure.
You cannot drink too much tea. It's impossible to drink too much tea. I'm looking at the cook thinking, I'm going to have to do some content creation very shortly with a kettle.
There you go. Just put the kettle on. Just put a live stream video on Colin's kettle and put that on the internet. Like, I guarantee there's constant activity. You're never going to go more than like 5 to 8 minutes without something going on.
Yeah. It makes you wonder whether it's some kind of addiction. I suppose tea is addictive. I know coffee's addictive.
Well,
You
yeah,
got the caffeine.
caffeine is very addictive. I cut out caffeine in 2009. I cut out caffeine.
Well, that's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah, and like
What was the
I'll
driving
drink tea, but I'll get like decaf Earl Grey tea. I don't like. So I got two kinds of tea. I'll drink like a nighttime tea, and I'll drink Earl Grey, and that's pretty much all I'll drink.
See, that makes sense to me. It sort of blows Ari's theory out of the window about coffee being like, a wannabe tea. John cut the coffee out. He knew where he was going.
Right.
He knew which side of his head was buttered.
But he's still stuck to tea.
No, hold on a second. So you know what? For me, it's one of those vices that I can cut down. My drinking is pretty good. My the sugar I eat am pretty good. All that stuff I'm reasonably good at. I gotta have something in my life, man. I gotta have something, and so for me, that's my coffee.
Yeah, I used to smoke too. I used to smoke. I gave that up.
Well, that's good. I never got into
3
that.
years now. 4 years this December. It'll be 4 years.
Good for you. I bet you breathe better. I bet you feel better. I bet you sleep better. I bet all of that is better just when you stop.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I'm still just as messed up here. Yeah. Where the real content is made.
I know. Yeah. No, I never got into the smoking, which I'm glad that's one vice I didn't have to worry about kicking. So
I grew up in a household of smoking. Like I actually grew up where they smoked in the house and stuff. Right. So like that, it was kind of it was there all my life, kind of thing. So
yeah. Let me tell you a story. When I was maybe 6, 5, maybe. We used to have to go, if you went to doctors for a doctor's appointment, I can remember a specific time in my life where I went to the doctors with my mum as a young child, and the whole room, the waiting room, was full of smoke. And you'd go in to see the doctor would be sat there with a cigarette on the ashtray on his desk. You would go to the supermarket as I sort of reached my late teens, 16, 17, and I started to smoke. And I'd go around the supermarkets, and there'd be people walking around the supermarket aisles with cigarettes on, sort of dropping it on the floor. And that's just the way it was. It's only a fairly recent thing when you look at the time that mankind's been smoking. It's only of recent years that people are saying, hang on, passive smoking, the dangers of passive smoking. But yes, it was in the doctors. A doctor. You'd think that the doctor would be the one guy that would say, right, we've got to promote this no smoking.
Those were the times.
That's the way it was.
Yeah. Man, doctors used to recommend, not doctors, was it the government used to recommend asbestos in your house for, I mean.
No, it's amazing.
The more you know. I wish I had the little rainbow thing. The more you know.
We should do that. Totally. Yeah. Oh, but you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's amazing how time has changed.
You know what? I think I will. For future broadcasts, folks, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab that whole shooting star across the night field with the rainbow behind it, and it says, the more you know. I think I'm going to grab that, edit it, and have a little clip ready for broadcast to just put that up.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think I want to add to that. Sorry, Ari, go ahead, buddy.
No, please go ahead. It's okay.
I was going to say, to tie into what John was saying there and sort of expound on it a little, the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know, if that makes sense. Right. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. You can never know. You can never know it all. It's the further you go down the rabbit hole, the bigger it opens up. There's so much to know. And we can never know it all. I mean, if you live to the ripe old age of 900, I think in the Bible, if my memory serves me rightly, Methuselah, he lived for 900 years. And he still wouldn't know it all.
I also found content creation, as long as we keep saying that.
Yeah. Content creation. There we go.
Content creation, random thought. Oh, that's content creation. But that's fine. It ticks the box.
There is a direct correlation to the more you learn, the more you second guess yourself, and the more you're like, oh, I know just enough now to know how much I don't know, and I'm an idiot. Like the more you learn, the more that thought process hits you. And so I feel like people get to be more self-doubt, like they're like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I could do that because I know how much I don't know. I can't do that.
This is why a lot of the big advances with is a young person's game, because again, sometimes if you know too much, you're going to be like, I don't want to try that because the odds aren't in my favor. But if it's like, yeah, I'm going to get rich and I'm going to figure this out. I mean, 98 out of 100, they fail miserably.
Yeah.
Or two of them, ignorance is bliss. They figure it out. Where if it's 100 older people that go about doing this, you probably have the same you probably have a higher you probably have less people willing to do it because they know, like, this is just I know too much. Like, I know.
Well, here's the actual trick of it. You don't have to be the world's most foremost expert in whatever the hell it is. You don't have to be. The real trick to success these days today is simply being willing to stick it out longer than the other guy.
Yeah, you're right.
That's it.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can stick it out, you can persevere longer than anybody else. You're going to be the only one left because everybody else already drops out of the race. They stop being your competition so that you are essentially the monopoly just because you didn't give up.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
But don't stick it out in the cold weather. Not good. Bad.
Content creation.
We're
still on topic.
Yeah, we're talking about rolling our own drugs, all that stuff. Just say the word content creation, it makes everything okay.
That's right. It does.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Oh, we got to stay on point with the video. Self-promotion. There we go. We're good.
All right.
Self-promotion. Yeah. So what is promoting? Promoting is to bring something up to a higher level. So self-promotion is just to bring yourself up to a higher level. Yeah. So
if not yourself, like Ari pointed out, if you have doubts about yourself and you don't feel comfortable maybe with promoting who you are as a person, maybe focus instead on promoting the service or the product that you provide instead. Maybe make it less about you and more about the product or service.
That's exactly it. Exactly.
I think one of the statements that I read on one of these development sites is when people said, "Who are you?" And I'm just looking over at my whiteboard here, and it says something along the lines of, because I haven't got my reading glasses on, I help X people to accomplish X through X. And if you can focus on that and fill in the gaps, I help John Powell keep his broadcast going through talking about goats and tea. Just fill in the gaps. No matter what it is.
Here we go again.
More on the activity. Yeah, but we're focusing more. You got to inject a bit of humor, but the logic and the sensibilities there. You help a certain person or group of people to either remove or to expand on something in their lives through the act of blah, blah, blah. And you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the activity. You're thinking about the product or the service that you're providing.
Yeah. And also focus on the, like, how that thing is of value or how it's cool. Maybe it's not valuable, or maybe you don't want to point out the value. Maybe it's just cool, right? Do it for the sake of it being cool or fun, or just be excited about it. Stop chasing a paycheck, because everybody that sees your promotions can feel that you're coming from a place of need and want rather than abundance and fun.
Right.
That it's obvious to everybody who sees it. It's super obvious, and it's off-putting to your audience when you come up and you say, "Oh, buy this," and really they see that you're really hurting to pay your rent. Right. And because you're hurting to pay your rent, you're pushing so hard to sell your thing. Right. They see that it's kind of off-putting. It's like, you know what? I don't want to get into this with this guy. So make it about the fun. Make it less about the money.
Yeah, this is why people are so afraid of, or salespeople have got such a bad rep.
Yep.
To be fair, because a lot of the teachings, a lot of the coaching, a lot of the stuff that they're taught is about trying to sell to anybody. But it's not about trying to sell to anybody. I think if you find the right audience, I mean, we talk about value and creating value and saying not necessarily do it just to get the value, but do it because you enjoy it.
Right.
Everything we do, I mean, not to labor a point, but everything we do is to enhance our lives on some level. So if somebody can enjoy what you're doing, if it stops somebody feeling as upset, if it enhances their excitement, if it creates a greater deal of relaxation for that person, you are creating value. If you're able to put something out there, somebody will find some value in that. There will be a market for you.
Right. And if you're doing your promotions well enough, if you're putting your excitement across well enough, the right customer is going to come to you and ask for your business. They're going to come to you and ask for it. They're not going to say how much. They're going to say, "Can I do this? Can you do this for me? Like I'm looking for this. Is this still available? Blah blah blah. Whatever it is, they're going to come to you if you've done the promotion right. If you've self-promoted correctly and you put your joy behind it, your excitement behind it, your customer's going to come to you.
100%. 100%. I mean, realistically,
agree.
I wouldn't go out there and buy the chair that Ari bought. I wouldn't buy the chair that Ari bought.
Yeah.
I know John's after the same chair or
I'm buying
chair
it. I don't
because
care.
we've had
I'm
this
buying it.
conversation.
Yeah.
There you go. Prime example. The point I'm making here is there is a market for everything. You're not going to find everybody wanting to buy that particular thing, that product, that service.
No.
But there's three of us sat here, and out of the three of us, two of us want that chair.
Yeah.
And actually,
Speak
John's
volumes.
getting a different style of chair for me. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. John's getting a different style of chair for me. So, even then within us, we don't agree on exactly the same thing. So
Exactly.
that's why you have different that's why you have different SKUs. That's why you have different sorry, I'm using a retail term. That's why you have different variations. It's because there are people with different needs and different tastes. Some people want their chair hot pink. Some people want their chair black. Some people want it leather. Yes, and they have both. Exactly.
They do have a hot pink one.
They do. They have a hot pink one, and it's a nice hot pink one if you're into that.
Yeah.
So I mean, nothing wrong with that. So it just depends on taste.
But for
a lot of people would like a
example,
nice hot pink one. I mean, go on.
I mean,
but for Colin's example, for Colin, for him, he doesn't find the value in spending quite that level of dollar figure for a chair. Right? That's just not a priority for Colin. Right? Like he would prioritize something else than a chair. Right? That's
bandwidth. Yeah,
exactly.
Bandwidth.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter what your service is, doesn't matter what your product is, doesn't matter who it is that's saying it. There's somebody out there that it will resonate with. At the end of the day, there just is.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, it looks like Colin disconnected a little bit. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Yeah, the network's a little wonky.
Yeah, I went to look at the chair.
You might want to check your windows there, Ari. Colin's creeping on you.
I know. So, John, are you going to get the XL or are you going to get the regular?
Yeah, I'm going to get the XL, man. I'm a big guy. 6'7", 260 pounds. I'm a big guy. Like,
I don't think the regular one. You're just
bad.
For the kind of money you want to make sure the chair fits you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm fat. Like, I'm not a fit guy.
No. Well, look, you're 6'7". You're a tall guy, big frame guy. You need you need the right chair.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. 6'6" and weighed 245. Big John.
I didn't know they stack caca that high.
They stack what? I missed that.
It's Spanish for shit.
Oh, caca. I didn't hear the word. I was like, did you just say the word?
I didn't know they stacked it that high.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You gotta
guys,
keep
hamster poet.
you got to keep a sense of humor, folks, especially about yourself. It is a strength beyond all measure.
Oh,
You
I
gotta
agree
do it.
with that. I agree with that. Amen. Amen.
Which ties back to your bullets cannot harm me. My wings are like a shield of steel.
Correct.
And those wings being the way you perceive yourself. If you can take the mickey out of yourself, then it's all good. And I can do that.
Yep.
I can do that.
I agree there.
That's right. If
You've got to be able to. You've got to be able to.
I forget. It's like an old proverb, and I'm so sorry. I forget the wording because it's such a good one. I have to look it up later. But if you don't have that negative self-talk inside, if you have no enemy within yourself, if there's no enemy within, then no enemy outside of yourself can do you any harm.
Correct.
So
I agree with that.
So if you have a sense of humor about yourself, that becomes your bulletproof armor to any review about any promotion, business idea, you as a person, whatever. If you have a healthy sense of humor about yourself, that's your armor. That's your bulletproof shield that you need to just dare to be different and step out there. Like,
right.
I mean, not every, you guys, you got to understand that not every promotion, not everything is going to be good. No matter how good you are at promotion. Coca-Cola, really great example, and I'll finish up with this because we're getting kind of at that mark. Coca-Cola is recently under heat because of their whole employee training thing, be less white, whatever stuff that they're going on with, okay? It's recent heat, but nobody can argue the fact that Coca-Cola over the last, almost 100 years, that Coca-Cola has one of the top branding things for promoting product and services out of any industry that has ever been. Coca-Cola is at the top of their game when it comes to promotion and things, just like Nike, all these different things. Coca-Cola has been at the very top for a very long time, right? And even the ones at the top, even the titans of industry at the top, make ridiculous mistakes. It's okay for you to make ridiculous mistakes. You don't have to be perfect.
No.
You're absolutely right. Everyone
less perfect you are, I think people will have been. Yep.
Completely agree. Everyone, look, no one's perfect. No one's infallible. Even Coca-Cola's, makes mistakes.
Yeah.
I think they've got sufficient flack for what they did there. That I could talk about that for a whole show. I'm not even gonna touch that. That whole topic, but
it wasn't even the point of it. It was just the point to illustrate that they made a demonstrable mistake, but that mistake does not negate decades of being one of the best advertisers in the world for a brand.
No, you know what? And it's a matter of how you handle those kinds of mistakes as well.
Yeah.
There's sort of failure with grace. If you come off and Coca-Cola says, no, I blame all of you. You're all a-holes. You're all this. You're all that. Then people won't forgive for that.
Right.
But if Coca-Cola comes out and says, look, all right, we tried something. It didn't work. We're sorry for whoever got offended, whatever the case may be. And I don't know. I'm not clear if those words were used here or not, but in any situation, then you know what? You accept people's apology and you move on. Why? Because you need to move on.
Yeah. It's okay to fail as long as you do it with grace, like what Ari's saying. Like, it's okay. It's part of the process. It's encouraged. Do it. At the beginning of this whole thing, if you go to the very beginning, folks, I put a link in for a Facebook group that I personally moderate. It's called Experts Community. Again, that community is for people who are entrepreneurs. It's a means of a support network of people from all around the world, right? There's, I think, 7 or 8 countries represented in that group as is. It's a small private group. You are welcome, okay? Join the group, get in there, self-promote, talk about your business, have other people who maybe are already in that industry. Maybe you can learn from them, okay? That's the point. Content creation, self-promotion, these people have been doing it for years. I've had this group up for years. Learn from them. learn where they didn't do well and pick up the slack, whatever it is. Don't be afraid to create content and self-promote. That's where your success is going to come from.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. So with the title being content creation, find a creative way to end this broadcast, John.
Content creation.
Well, that's great. That's riveting. I'm just like,
Very inspirational. Very inspirational.
wow. Chills. I need
Thanks
to go
a lot,
grab a
guys.
tea now.
Thanks
I'm
a
so
lot.
impressed. Yes.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Thanks for
Thanks.
coming,
Yeah,
everybody.
tea. Yeah, I'm going to have a coffee as well. Just in the spirit of international relationships, I'm going to have a coffee.
International peace efforts of tea.
Oh,
Right,
man.
guys.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good
Thanks
night,
for
everyone.
coming.
Take care, folks.